This video documents our first 2 days in Fairbanks. Mostly flying, staying at the hotel, eating, and chasing the Aurora. We departed in the afternoon and transferred flights in Seattle, arriving in Fairbanks at 11:30 p.m. I was excited to see so many restaurants in Seattle's end terminal, but after a bowl of Vietnamese noodles and a grilled cheese sandwich, I came back to reality that it just looks better than it tastes. Fairbanks Airport is adorable, only 8 gates and 2 baggage carousels. Mr. Wang showed an extraordinary interest in fat trucks with oversized wheels and snow coaches with tracks, which foreshadowed a minor tragedy a few days later. We called the hotel, and they told us to wait at the west exit. Within 10 minutes, the car arrived. Worried about the cold in Fairbanks, I wore 2 pairs of pants from the moment we departed. I was hot the whole way. However, we mostly stayed indoors with heating, so it ended up being unnecessary. We were excited, thinking it was already freezing that night, 4 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 15 degrees Celsius. But later we realized how naive we were. Hyatt Place Fairbanks offers many conveniences for travelers. 24-hour airport shuttle, self-service laundry, a gym, pool, breakfast, and plenty of food available for purchase. Here's our room. It was very spacious. Here's the breakfast. They also offer a variety of herbal teas without caffeine. The breakfast area has large windows where you can enjoy views of the snowy landscape. This was my first breakfast in Fairbanks. Then, we seriously used the gym preparing ourselves for the food to come. Since we weren't picking up our rental car until the evening, both lunch and dinner were handled nearby, which shows the great location of this hotel. There are many restaurants in the same shopping plaza, just a 5-minute walk away. The day's temperature ranged from 1 degree to 18 degrees Fahrenheit. For lunch, we went to Friar Hoagie House. This place had the widest variety of hot sandwiches I've ever seen. It only took 5 minutes to walk there. Even though we arrived around 2 p.m., it was still crowded. We ordered fried avocado, a salad, a richly flavored, but not overly salty, French onion soup, the Tux roll, filled with thin sliced ribeye, onions, sweet peppers, mushrooms, chili, and white cheese, and the Balboa roll filled with ribeye, salami, Italian sausage, mushrooms, sweet peppers, onions, chili, and white cheese. The 2 sandwiches tasted quite similar, bold flavors, perfect for a cold day. Since we had worked out in the morning, we naturally became lazy sloths for the rest of the afternoon, lying in bed watching Netflix, which Mr. Wang was streaming using his phone's unlimited data. 3 days later, he discovered his phone no longer had internet, because Alaska has its own mobile network. The services provided by and U.S. mainland carriers don't work here unless you enable roaming. And roaming has data limits, regular usage is fine, but binge-watching shows will get you in trouble. For dinner, we went across the street to Irashai, a Japanese restaurant run by Koreans. It only took 4 minutes to walk there. We ordered a fire steak roll with shrimp tempura, avocado, and seared steak. a salmon mango roll with mango sauce and avocado, an island roll with spicy tuna, salmon, avocado, and spring greens, and seafood udon. Every sushi roll was well balanced in flavor. The mango and salmon blended beautifully. The island roll was fresh and just the right level of spicy, and the seafood udon was the most loaded and massive I've ever seen. After the meal, the owner came over and chatted with us. We said, "It's so cold here." He replied, "What are you talking about? It's warm right now." Well, clearly, Arizona and Alaska people use different internal thermometers. Naively, I thought just being in Fairbanks meant we'd see the aurora. In reality, you need to be somewhere without light pollution or obstructions to have a better chance to see the aurora, but that means heading out of town. That's why many people join local aurora tour groups. There are lots of aurora tours online, ranging from $100 to $300 USD. Most of them chase the aurora in a van, but I was afraid it would be too cold sitting in a car all night, and there'd be no bathroom. So in the end, we chose an Aurora Camp, which cost only $99 per person. We didn't want to drive snowy mountain roads at night, so we paid an extra $80 per person for the pickup drop-off service. The Aurora Camp service was great. They arranged the pickup time with us early in the day. The camp itself is a charming house with a warm lounge, Wi-Fi, hot water, food, and, most importantly, bathrooms. We stayed from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. When the aurora appears, we go outside to take photos, but otherwise we could relax and do as we pleased. Tonight's guide was from China. Since we spoke the same language, he was extra helpful and taught us a lot. First, he showed us the live aurora cam from the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Link below. Although the camera is north of Fairbanks, it's in sync with the skies most locals see. So if you see auroras on the feed, you're likely to see them in the area too. Second, he taught us how to take aurora photos with our phones. He taught us how to turn on night mode and set the exposure to max. At first, the chances seemed low. The KP index was only 3 to 4. KP index measures the Earth's geomagnetic activity caused by the sun. Higher numbers mean better chances to see auroras. At 11 p.m., we saw our first aurora. It wasn't strong, but with the techniques our guide taught us, we captured some beautiful photos. Then he brought out his professional camera with a fill light and took photos of each of us, sending us the files. Suddenly, the tour felt like amazing value. To be honest, the aurora looks dimmer to the naked eye than in photos. It's closer to what you see in a video than a still photo. Here's the aurora we saw at 11 p.m. It was hard to even record. Our guide said we were lucky seeing an aurora with KP3. But around 1 a.m., another one came bigger. It wasn't just a thin band, it had swirling patterns. The Aurora Camp had professional camera setting tips posted. Here's what the pro camera captured versus what our phones got. The difference is obvious. But then again, the difference in weight and cost is also huge. At this point, the outside temperature was around 15 degrees. Mr. Wang braved the cold to keep shooting, but I took one photo and ran inside. It was just too cold. Our guide baked pizza for us, and we had hot cocoa and instant noodles. Being able to chase the aurora in such a comfortable setting, I highly recommend it. Our friend arrived 3 days later and saw an even bigger aurora. Now, the question is, we already saw the aurora. What do we do for the next 8 days? But for now, it's 3 a.m. time for sleep. See you next time!